we're getting nearer to the summer when you start hearing ABBA on the radio. It's a summer thing. I think it's because of the Mamma Mia films. As soon as you get to summer, you just get ABBA everywhere on the radio. I think it's a summer thing, and I think it kind of clashes with that's when Mamma Mia, the films, have come out in the summer. So I think that's why we get that, and it is good film music. Good afternoon. Hope you're all well. I've been out in the garden. I tried to do a video in the garden yesterday, but I was getting a background wind, so I kind of gave up in the end. I wanted to do a video on one of my old 1940s radio, but we'll save that for another time. What's going on in the channel? Basically, we've been doing lots of shorts around Lancaster and Lancashire, and people like the short stuff, like looking at the area. They like looking up north, silly up north, and we've been doing a bit of radio stuff as well, but mainly shorts this week. So this is my weekly video, and what is going on in Radio Land? I hear you ask, or I hear you not ask. Well, there's been a decision on the licenses that the BBC wanted. So the BBC wanted, I think it was 4 new DAB licenses. So they wanted one, a Radio 1 Extra, which would be like dance classics. That one's been approved. It kind of makes sense because dance is like what we know as 90s dance music. From that era onwards, it seems to stand the test of time. It's not been as faddish as some other genres. You know, it's been there all the time. So it'll probably make sense for them to have a channel. It'll clear Radio 1 a bit for them, and maybe Radio 1 can do more newer music than rather playing dance classics, because it does do a lot of old classic stuff, where I think sometimes it should be doing new music. So that maybe makes sense for them. Radio 3 has got Radio 3 Extra. Don't know much about Radio 3, but that one's been cleared. Now the two that weren't cleared was Radio 5 Extra and Radio 2 Extra. And I think it's because the commercial sector has argued that they've spent a hell of a lot of money, you know, investing in DAB and this, that and the other, and the BBC compete with them all. Their money's wasted in a way. So Ofcom have turned both of those down. So I don't know, is TalkSport wanting to do an extra channel? I'm not too sure. But it would affect them if what you call it, 5 Live had an extra channel. It could just cover so much more than TalkSport could. So they weren't happy about that. So that seems to have been turned down. And also as well, it kind of could cut down kind of people listening to local radio, because a lot of the local or some of the regional radio stations do broadcast their kind of regional area football. Like Beyond will do stuff in Lancashire, usually, you know, the Morecambe Shrimps and Lancaster football club and stuff like that. But yeah, it gets a big audience from that, so maybe that extra would kind of interfere with regional stuff as well, because the BBC local stations actually do their local areas as well, so maybe it would have affected that. Don't know. That's just me wobbling on. Maybe you know better than me. The one that's caused the biggest argument is the BBC 2 Extra one. They actually changed the proposal once, but Radio 2 is a kind of strange station. It's kind of now catering for me. I'll be 50 this year, so but it's quite strange because Radio 1. A lot of the stuff that I DJ'd with in the 20s, or was around in my 20s, still being played by Radio 1, or some of the dance classics have been mentioned, and the drum and bass stuff, because it links with one and Extra, will be still played by Radio 1. But Radio 2 is playing R&B, so it's covering the same genre. So I think they wanted another channel so they could kind of cover a broader area. But the what do you call it? The generation that feels left out by BBC local radio because it's cut its content down, and Radio 2 is what they call the boomer generation, and probably Generation X now as well. They feel like the BBC have kind of missed them a little bit, and that's kind of grown stations like Boom Radio. Boom Radio complained about it. I think other commercial radio stations did as well. Because Boom Radio now I think it started online, and it's on DAB in lots of areas, and it's kind of picked up a big audience. But if you had Radio 2 Extra, it would struggle. I don't think they're making millions and millions of pounds, and I think their listenership is 800,000. But Radio 2 Extra would affect them, so I think that's been turned down. Also, local radio stations and regionals have kind of picked up a little bit by Radio 2, kind of missing its audience in a way. So I think Radio 2 kind of moved too fast in a way. Even though it does have some of the old legendary DJs, obviously Johnny Walker's gone, Tony Blackburn's still there. He's disappointed because he reckons that it would be great for streaming old programmes, archives, but you can do that online. So yeah, so that one's been turned down, and it looks like we're going to have a change in the actual licence fee as well. There's been a massive argument about paying the licence fee for years and years and years. But I think they're just going to make it general taxation by 2027 because it doesn't work anymore. So a lot of people don't pay it because they say, I don't listen to the BBC, so I don't pay it. But actually, the licence fee is for actually watching live content. So if you watch anything that I broadcast live, you should have a TV licence, I think. I think that's how it works. So if you're watching Sky or Talk TV or GB News, if it's live, you still have to have a TV licence. So we've had different ones, different things going on, like defund the BBC because they don't like the BBC. People said get rid of the licence fee. But it was always going to be replaced, so it's going to be replaced by general taxation, I think. And it was, who is it? Oh, God. The Labour lady, what's her name? Oh, she's on the top of my head at the moment. She's the one that said that it'll probably get changed by 2027. Nadine Dorries, who works for Boris Johnson, who was quite vocal about Boris Johnson, said the similar thing, but kind of was using the get rid of the BBC thing, which I don't think any government would ever get rid of the BBC, because it would leave them exposed. At the moment, certain rising parties have more of a coverage on certain news channels and come out more favourably because they're not in power. If they're in power, those TV channels then become the ones that are judging them. So BBC is supposed to be impartial, and most of the time it is. Does get things wrong, so I don't think any government would get rid of the BBC, to be honest with you. So as we radios today, and we got this out. We bought this nearly 2 years ago, and this is a Amstrad radio, and I bought this just because of the novelty of it. Amstrad stands for Alan Michael Sugar Trading. Remember the guy, The Apprentice? You're fired. Alan Sugar, and this was one of his radios. He was a barrow boy, as a lot of people know. He used to sell stuff in the barrows and stuff, in markets and stuff like that, and became very rich, basically selling absolute rubbish. So basically he used to sell a lot of technology which was a bit inferior. So his computers had inferior chips in them, and had lots of problems. If you're in computer nerds, you probably know more than I do about it. I remember if you walked into Dixon's, you used to have an IBM computer and a Tandy one, and there would be a massive price difference to them, probably more than half the price sometimes. But I remember, because I was dyslexic, they said I needed a word processor, which we still couldn't afford. But we went into Dixon's, and my mum said to this guy, "What about that? What's the difference between those two?" And he basically said, "Between me and you, I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole. 1 of 5 are faulty. They use faulty chips. You need to buy an IBM. If you can't afford one of those, don't bother." That's what he said. But it used to do a lot of it used to do stereos, and everyone will remember those stereos they had in wooden cabinets. So it would have a cassette player, a tuner, and a record player in like a wooden cabinet. So it looked like hi-fi separates, because hi-fi separates was the thing in the 80s and 90s. You kind of choose your own amplifier and your own tape player. But this looked like a separates, but it wasn't. It was just the front was made to it. Behind it was a load of rubbish gubbins that generally went wrong a hell of a lot of time or weren't right when you bought them. And the speakers was awful. They were like tinny. They were like listening to music out of a tin can. So they were all. He was buying stuff from different places in Asia, but packaging them up to look pretty fancy, but they weren't very fancy. So this is an Amstrad radio, and it's kind of it's as light as hell. There's nothing in it, and it's quite interesting. It's got a strange band split, so it's got long wave, medium wave, as we know it, and then it goes to FM with the aircraft band as well. So it's covering FM broadcast band where you get all your music, and then it's actually covering just above it is where the airplanes use. So it's covering that bit as well, and then it's kind of covered shortwave in just a little, the whole of shortwave in a very. It's gone from. Oh no! It's separated it. Has it separated it? It's separated 4 megacycles to 6 in a big band spread. That's the one I usually call the Euro band, where most of the European stations use. So it's spread it that massively, and then it's done 7 megacycles to 22 in just a small bit. But it's kind of done some really strange things. It's got a tuning eye on it. So basically you can tell if a radio station is tuned in properly from just hearing it generally. But a tuning eye goes way back. Sets in probably in the 1930s they used to have a tuning eye. So you used to tune the radio till the light was its brightest. And obviously that hadn't been used for years and years, but for some reason the tuning eye in this 80s set's turned up again. So that's quite novel. I hated these sets. I used to make alarm clocks, all sorts of different hi-fis, because they were always faulty. On FM, a lot of the time, they used to prioritize louder signals, stronger signals. So if you had a strong signal in your town, it would prioritize that signal and then block the signals around it out, which used to cause problems. I worked for a radio station in Cheshire, and there was a huge argument that it was causing interference to the station next door. So the station I was working with had the bigger signal, and the one next door, which was from Manchester, had the smaller signal. And this guy said, "You're totally blocking, you're interfering, you're blocking it out." Lots of tests were done, tried other radio stations, sat outside his house, because he told us where his house was. We had no problems in it, just a normal car stereo, all the stuff that we were detecting on it. It was the Amstrad set, it was just getting overwhelmed by a strong signal. Nothing else was. It was just the Amstrad. So we actually told him his set, a more quality set, but he wasn't having it. It was our problem, not his problem. These things, yeah. So I have a bad aversion to Amstrad. So I'll show you. This one is actually doing that. We've got 2 strong signals in Lancaster, and it seems to be just prioritizing those. The 2 big strong signals that I listen to a lot: Radio Lancashire and Beyond, which is our station for North Lancashire. It kind of covers South Cumbria and North Lancashire, and those actually the Beyond one is in actually the city centre. It's in Wellington Park. We've done a video about that. It's no secret where it is because it's actually on Wikipedia where it's put it. It's actually in Wellington Tower. And there's the Radio Lancashire one. I think that's transmitters near Morecambe somewhere. So we get them really blasting. But this set will just pick up them, and anything around it kind of forgets. It's just very open-ended. It gets overwhelmed. And the hi-fis used to do this as well. And just, Alan Sugar, you're fired. So I'll just show you. Oh, it's a bit crackly because I've not used it that much. So I'm on 1A8 now, so there you go. So that's Radio Lancashire. It's Magic Eyes lit up. And then it goes straight next door to Beyond. And next door is that's Classic FM. After that, then it goes to Radio 1. If I use my other set, let's put it on FM. Let's see how this one does. You see, it's kind of missing stuff out. I'll go from 108. So Radio Lancashire. This is Beyond. And then Beyond. But it does have, between the 2 stations, it's got a good spacing between them. It doesn't just, the audio doesn't just go from one to the other station. And then there's a huge gap until you get to Classic FM. And there's Smooth Radio 100.4. Now this totally forgets it, totally misses it out. And if you actually go down there, go to the other side of the house, we get Heart right next to Radio Lancashire, not here, but next door. So this is a lot more spaced. And it doesn't matter too much around here because there's not many radio stations on FM, which, you know, you've got a handful basically. But if you're in the city, if you're in Cheshire or anywhere near Manchester where there's multiple ones, these things can cause, you can cause a right hassle, can't you? So I just thought I'd get the Amstrad out. Now the tuning thing is gone on it, so I can't show you any other bands, I'm afraid. And I took the switch off and tried to change it manually with a screwdriver. It's not actually that's knackered, it's actually the port thing. I've turned that with a screwdriver, it won't budge, which is a pain. But we'll put you back for another day. Should we see? Hang on. Considering it's got the aircraft band on it, let's see if we can get anything on the aircraft band. There's one person there. So I'm not a pro on the aircraft band, but I'm sure if I took it outside of a bigger hill, I'd get more aircraft signals. Maybe I should take it outside one day, see what I get. But yeah, there was one just quietly there, but there you go. Bedtime till next time. So as we usually do on the channel, we have a quick look around Shortwave. The conditions on Shortwave haven't been great today. And we're still in high sun as well. I always time it badly because dusk is the best time to actually listen to Shortwave in Europe. So we'll have a quick flip through and see what we get. Thank you very much. I've got the external aerial, so this can go down. Now we're not using FM because I've got a big external wire in it as usual, and that's draped outside because Shortwave needs big aerials. FM, just the small telescopic aerial that it comes with, is fine. But yeah, if you're listening to Shortwave, you definitely need a wire. Because the lower the frequency, the bigger aerial it should have. So yeah, the signals are getting better. There's pipe sender on 7405 again. So what time is it now? It's about 5 o'clock. I don't know, I haven't got my clock, but it's about 5 o'clock. So he's coming in quite well for 5 o'clock. And he'll be on till later on. And he's licensed in the Netherlands. And he's about the only one on what we call the 41 meter band around here. Broadcast on there. You get some later on. You'll get some stations from Asia popping up around here, but not till later on. So he's the only one on the band. Yeah, he's the only one on the band at the moment, but that will change. So we'll go down to what I call the Euro band, 49 metres. I'll have a flick through that because that's where the most stuff is. And I did notice Jack was on, and this is a good one, as I said on my last video. If you're starting to listen to Shortwave, it's a good signal. If you want something that's there all the time, it's just a revolving tape. A revolving show of 2 hours, and it's there all the time. So if you can't pick up in the morning, you might pick it up in the evening. And this signal's been on constantly on Saturday and Sunday for bloody hell about 2 years now. Even though it didn't turn on Saturday because the conditions in the high sun were so weak, he didn't turn on until about 3:30 in the afternoon. So yeah, just make sure it's more afternoon than morning.
315 kilohertz. Also reports it might be around 6230 kilohertz. Radio Dublin is also reported to be using 6220 kilohertz between 2200 and 0300 hours. That's after Radio Andorra signs off.
Yeah, so he's there, and he's doing some more programs about old radio stations long gone. He's the radio station for Radio Bus, basically. So he goes through a lot of memories and plays some old recordings of old stations long gone. Unfortunately, there was a hell of a lot. It's pretty boring out there to what it used to be. There used to be lots of stuff from Ireland and all over the place. There's not as much now, I'm afraid. So you usually get something. Once we get to dusk, we'll get something, but you'll usually get something on 6300 to 6280. There's quite a few different ones that kind of just use that area. You see. 6280, there's one there. And that'll be Dutch again. Yeah, that's Shortwave radio on 6160. That's from Germany. That'll come in a lot better in the next hour or so, but it's there. It's there. And usually Radio Europe's there, but it's not there at the moment. It's very unusual, that. Very, very unusual. And 5980 is AM. So the pipe sender, as we call it, pip sender, is on 7405 side. 7405 on 41 is actually turning up on 5990. We did this last weekend. Radio peep sender. I'm going to have to stop saying pipe sender. So he's there as well. And that's Radio Veronica on 5955. So that's it for today.
Next Wednesday night, what we'll do something special for that. We'll be turning down
I've gone back to 6280, and I think it's actually XTC, which
yeah, few little things.
yeah, it sounds like XTC, which I don't hear that often.
As well. So it's first request time. Do you deal with me?
Yes, I wonder who's that in.
Oh no. Sorry, no, it's Laser. I know that voice. So 6280's got Laser. Laser Hot Hits, that used to broadcast 24/7 on shortwave, and it only crops up every now and again now, so they're on 6280 now. So I think I'll leave it on that. As that to the afternoon. But yeah, that's our Sunday sweep. I'm gonna log off from you now, and obviously when it starts going dusky, all the Dutch pirate radio stations will come out and broadcast. They kind of wait till dusk because their signals travel better. So between 6300 and 6200, things will pop up, even if it's for 20 minutes, half an hour. Different ones like the Border Hunter or Johnny Tobacco, they'll turn up for an hour, maybe half an hour, maybe 2 hours. So yeah, if you're getting into shortwave on Sunday, it's always good just to scan up and down between, I would say, 6 to 6300 on the 4948, and that's a kind of interesting area to search. If you go higher band area, so if you're going up 16 megacycles, that works more in the morning with signals from Asia, but it's like massive signals, so you get Radio China and things like that on them. And they're better in the morning and the afternoon, and the afternoons than they are in the evenings. But obviously it's very state propaganda stuff that gets boring after a while. So yeah, that's a good place to listen to, as I always say on my videos. So I can't think of anything Yeah, it's Radio Caroline 60, is it 60, 61 next weekend, so it's the Radio Caroline North weekend. We'll be tuning into that. We'll be also getting my old radio set out to listen to 198 Longwave before it disappears, because it's supposed to disappear in June. Don't think I've had any more buy me coffees. I hadn't done in the last couple of days. I'll have to check again. If you have sent one, thank you very much, and I'll mention you some other time. Yeah, if you want to buy me coffee, it's actually on the top of my YouTube page. Buy me coffee, and it's very, very grateful if you do, because I'm saving up for new equipment slowly. So, and there's lots of things that I'd like to get but I can't afford. So anything that goes in there goes to the channel. It doesn't go to buy me a carling. I buy my own carlings. Right, I'll stop joking now. So yeah, thanks for watching again. Have a great weekend. You'll probably get quite a few shorts off me next week, travelling around, because I'm off for 6 days with it being Easter, and usually we travel around with my mum, so I think we're actually going to Sebba, so you might get some interesting shorts while we're travelling around, and I might actually get time to do a video as well with the cameraman, hopefully. Let's see. Fingers crossed. See you soon.